People with dementia don't actually understand the importance of exercise in their therapy. There is nothing like physical exercise to slow functional decline in dementia. So that's brisk walking, it can be going to the gym if you like, going for a walk with the dog, getting out on a bicycle, having a swim. All those sorts of forms of exercise are really important when it comes to, slowing the progress of the disease. We often suggest that people buy hand weights. You can get them from Kmart at Target, 2 kilogram hand weights, and put those by your kettle. And every time you go and have a cup of tea, you use them, do some strengthening exercises of one sort or another. I think it's really important to say that if exercise was a medication, if we could put it in a pill, it would be the most effective treatment ever marketed. Keeping people exercise during the day and active is also very important. Another really good form of exercise is sit to stand. So that's folding your arms, standing up from a normal height chair, and then sitting down really slowly and repeating that several times. We suggest people work up to 10 or even 15 repetitions at a time. That's using your body weight as resistance, and it's a really effective form of exercise. People with dementia are required to self-report to the driver licensing authority, so to the Roads and Maritime Services. And if they have dementia, they need to have a conditional licence. This means a restricted licence, and it may mean only driving in daylight hours, or perhaps restricted to within 20 or 30 kilometres of their home address. We certainly recommend on-road testing as the best gold standard, if you like, for driving. The RMS will do this for free, but a lot of driver training schools will do it for quite a reasonable price. It's important to remember that in the later stages of dementia, people with dementia often can't report pain. They might be restless or unhappy, but they can't actually articulate the fact that they have pain somewhere or discomfort. And I think it's really important to remember that, and to think always, if someone's agitated or distressed, to consider using analgesics. Even as a first line in agitation, there's really good evidence that shows that agitation can be treated with analgesics, starting with paracetamol, going through the slightly stronger ones, and even occasionally opioids are necessary. With dementia, it's important to remember that you can get acutely confused more easily than people without dementia. We call this a delirium or acute confusion, and if you're unwell, if you've had a bad reaction to medication, even if you've just changed environments, you can become very muddled and confused. You can become delirious. It's really important carers recognise those sudden changes and report them to their doctor, because often it's something that can be medically treated. Sleep is an important issue in dementia. We find some people with dementia sleep more, and often their carers get worried. And my comment is always, let them sleep as long as they're active between their sleeps. And if they're waking up at night or waking early in the morning, then perhaps they shouldn't sleep too much during the day. Sometimes people with dementia have day-night reversal, where they get up at 3 a.m. and think it's time to get up and go to work. In situations like that, it can be very difficult for the carer. We certainly look then at perhaps using something like melatonin. That's quite effective to, readjust sleep patterns. Weight loss is another interesting part of dementia. It is quite normal for people with dementia to lose up to 5%, possibly even more, of their body weight during the disease. And this is even when they're eating really, really well. No one's quite sure why, but it does seem to be some form of energy dysregulation. So it's important that carers know perhaps to add extra protein into the diet. This can be scoops of protein powder, it can be sustagen, look, it can be Tim Tams, whatever. The important thing is to keep calories and also protein going, because weight loss is an issue. Wandering is a real problem for some people with dementia. We encourage people to get out and walk, and then we worry that they'll get lost. So I say to carers, yes, let the person you're caring for wander, but make sure that they have a safety alert or their name somewhere, or even a mobile phone close to them. Or on them, so that you can find them if they do get lost. Another suggestion is that you always put them in a bright red jumper or, purple vest or something, so that you can say, look, he's in a red vest. Have you seen a man in a red vest? It's actually very simple, but a very effective way of keeping track of people. Visual problems often occur in people with dementia. That is, they can't necessarily see certain colours, perhaps they can't see the edge of things. So contrast sensitivity is significantly affected. They can't see the edge of steps, so they tend to fall more easily. They often can't see the knife or the fork or the cup on the table. So dealing with that can be quite hard, and certainly there are ways to manage that. I'd really like to draw your attention to a number of resources that are available. We actually have national guidelines that are for the clinical management of dementia. We have a consumer companion guide that goes along with those guidelines. These are all available and freely downloadable. And also a booklet on those conditions that occur more often in people with dementia, such as falls or delirium or seizures. We have those readily available.